You need to know this: do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. All right, today's topic is how to protect your case for immigration court. Now, my name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States, physically with a physical office in Houston, Texas, here to solve your immigration problem or maybe prevent the problem from happening in the first place, folks. All right, so there's plenty of immigration lawyers on social media, but you need to find the one, follow the one that you find provides the information that you need in the right way. And because there's a lot of us, right? And here's the deal. Okay, my camera's working. Great, wonderful. So hope y'all doing good. Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome. I'm trying my best to answer questions. So I'll look at all the different platforms. It's kind of wild, all the different platforms you have to use these days, but whatever you prefer, right? So um happy to answer questions about immigration topics or about, if you want to become a lawyer, think about law school, anything like that. And okay, so for the topic of the day, okay, even though the topic is not really your case, that's okay generally because I usually have a lot of random tips related to immigration that kind of weaved in. Um, but here's the deal: I'm not literally able to answer every single question. I really appreciate everyone's trust to ask a question, but it's just not humanly possible, as you can imagine. I usually get like uh, TikTok shows me like 100 plus messages, which I really appreciate your trust. But if I'm not able to answer a question at all or as in depth, we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Most law firms charge a consultation fee. The way that we can feel better about furthering our mission of helping people live and work in America legally is by not charging a consultation fee. That's one of the ways because I understand that some of y'all already paid a lawyer, paid multiple lawyers consult fee, and you're still like, dadgummit, their advice didn't seem helpful to me. And maybe it's just a way that people need attorneys need to share the information because, I get this feedback a lot from many people is like, um, yeah, yeah, I had a meeting with so and so attorney, or they don't remember who that was really, but they're like, yeah, I met with plenty of attorneys and they they shared info, but I don't remember what it was. And it's probably because the attorney didn't share in a way that you could remember it, honestly. So for us, we don't do it for every single person, but we try our best. Is that after the strategy session, we email a recap. Okay. We do it for people who are eligible for our services and people who are just seeking general information and even people who are not eligible at all. Because we want to make sure you have the right information to make a decision, even if it's to make the decision like, at this time, I'm not eligible, so I'm not going to hire anyone. Because we do get a lot of people like, John, I'm eligible. I know I'm eligible because my friend did this. Or blah 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 blah, like a friend's story, right? Their success story, or I know this attorney did this, and we look at it as like, I'm sorry, it's possible, but it's a long journey. Is that really not just long in terms of timing, but the complexity of it? Like maybe you have to go consular abroad, and some people are like, no, I don't want a consular. Like, okay, cool, I get that, but like you're not eligible for a waiver, so why even start the process if big picture wise legally if you can't actually get the resident status? Or you could, but you have to leave the United States. So, anyways, I share information with that mindset, that framework, so that you understand um, what's going on. So now back to the topic. Okay, you want to protect your case from term. Well, it shouldn't be phrased this way. Sorry about that, but it needs to be how to get your case. How to get your case terminated. Okay. So that way, how to get your case terminated. So, if you're, and when I say terminated, I mean more about immigration court. Okay. If you got a case in immigration court, you want to get your case dismissed, terminated. All right. It's very, very important to do that because even if you have an asylum case, USCIS just came out with some specific policy on guidelines on how to get your case dismissed so that USCIS can process the case. And the reason why people were concerned about it is because, okay, well, if I dismiss my case, will I get my work permit? Will I still be able to use work permit? And USCIS has stated yes, the case will continue. Even if you get your court case dismissed and you file for asylum, it will still be in the system so you can continue working. Okay, that's what we've been told. That was official guidance on paper online, USCIS website about at least 2 months ago. So I know it's 2023, late 2023, and it was happening anyway for the past year or so. But all of us lawyers are like attorneys, like, okay, that's great, but can you put it on paper, a policy? So it gave everyone more assurance, right? All right. So the first thing to do is contact. This is assuming you don't have a lawyer, or you can't afford a lawyer, right? Contact Google search first your local office of chief counsel, right? Let's say you live in Fort Worth. I'm sorry. Let's say you live in like Austin. Austin does not have an immigration court, right? Um, I mean, not right. You wouldn't know that. So, but San Antonio does. So I believe people who live in Austin, Texas, their case would be in San Antonio. Could be wrong. Um, but that gave you an idea. You live in Waco, Texas. You get those Magnolia Bakery cupcakes. There's no court in immigration court in Waco, Texas. So those cases, the people who live there would be in Dallas immigration court. So why am I saying this? Because I could just say step one, request, email, Department of Homeland Security, but really you need to know which office to contact. There's not just one main email. Thank God, honestly, because there'd be so many. There's already a lot of inquiries, but they have it by city, essentially, by major city. So keep that in mind, okay, when you search, because you might not find one in your local area like Waco. Um, or Austin. That's step number one. And then you might ask, well, how long will it take for them to get back to me? They're not fast. Okay. They're only quicker when you have maybe a hearing date like next week or like tomorrow, and they finally get back to you. And it's not a guarantee that they would contact you back. So please do not assume, well, even if Department of Homeland Security gets back to you and they don't mention anything about, like, let's say they do say, yeah, we're going to agree to dismiss your case, but they don't mention anything about not showing up, which I wouldn't trust them in that respect. You still need to show up to court. Okay. The only situation you will not need to show up to court is if you see a piece of paper. Okay. I got some court orders laying around somewhere. If you got a physical piece of paper, or if you print it out, right, I guess, that has a court order dismissing or order terminating case, that is the only time that you can feel reassured to not attend court, to not appear in person. Otherwise, if you have not received that piece of paper, order dismissing the case or terminating the case, you still need to appear. And here's why. Even if Department of Homeland Security attorney says, you're good to go, boss, or I agree to it, that doesn't mean much. I mean, it's a good answer. It's great. That's really the cover step number one. But if you don't show up to court, even if Department of Homeland Security agrees to your agreeing to the joint motion, the judge's job is to what they would normally do is find you removed, what we call in absentia. You didn't show up, you were absent. So we don't want that situation for you, right? Um, because you could have done everything you could have or done, and then you're like, oh shoot, I was supposed to show up. Okay. And here's the other tip. If you call into the court and you speak to a clerk, look, the clerks are busy, busy. So if you give them your A number and you're like, "Do I need to show up because I got this like agreement from Department of Homeland Security?" look, a clerk is not there to give you legal advice, okay? But even if on accident the clerk says, "Oh yeah, 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 you got an agreement from DHS, the TA, you're good to go." TA we call trial attorney for the government. Oh, you're good. But you're like, what? And then you're thinking, well, your first thought is like, "Oh, good, I don't have to show up." No, you still need to show up. The person did not actually say you don't have to show up. But even if they did, here's the other way that you need to support to make sure is because you number one, they don't. I don't think they unless there's a lot of lead time, like many weeks in advance, they would send you something to say to in the mail, say canceled or case terminated, right? But here's the best way. Let me find this website for you. It's a court website, EOIR website. I'll share with this with you. At least I'm able to share the link on YouTube and Facebook. Instagram. Let's see if it goes through. Okay. But if you Google for those folks on TikTok, if you just Google search EOIR case status or something or automated case, it'll pop up the link. Okay. Okay. I guess for Instagram, I have to send it separately. Okay. All right. So there you go. There's a link. Um, and that just covers step number one, but with many tips. Here's step number two. You need to file the motion, the formal motion, but you might not know how to do all that, right? So that's what a lawyer is for to help you with that part. Okay. And let's say in a situation I'm just sharing other scenarios. Let's say you're in court and the judge like, okay, we're gonna order dismissed, and you're like, I didn't have to file anything. Filing motion is helpful because especially if you're like several months away from the actual hearing, you can maybe get a judge to make a decision on it before you even have to show up to court. Some of y'all have a case in like California, but you live in Kansas. It's because you moved, right? So to prevent you having to fly over there or drive all the way there to California or another state, you might as well try to file that motion if you have time. All right. So, but if you don't file that formal motion, or if you're not in court to ask for it, that to ask meaning like let the judge know, okay, I'm here to dismiss my case because government attorney agreed to dismiss it, and I have a pending whatever application I-130, for example. Look, I'm not trying to tell you how to practice law, but I want to share some tips in case you don't have the budget for it, right? It's very important because a lot of people get stuck in a court case, and come to realize after all the people we've been talking to, the case could have got dismissed a long time ago. And you've had to spend money and time practically just to show up to court. And the judge is not going to tell you, the government lawyer is not going to tell you step by step what to do. Right. Even for me, I'm not supposed to tell you step by step what to do. That's just the general steps. All right. And even if the judge gives you that order and you have a pending case, guess what? USCIS and the court, EOIR, Executive Office of Immigration Review, do not talk to each other. Okay. So if you have a pending application with USCIS, you need to notify them. Or maybe it's not pending anymore. Maybe it's been admin closed. So USCIS needs to know about it. That's where lawyers come in again. Private attorneys like my law firm. All right. So hopefully that gives you an idea. Now, on to answering some questions. Thanks so much for your patience. Um, what's up? How y'all doing? FBS said hello to you earlier. Hi, Gemini. Hey, I hope this rain goes away. What's up, Raider Nation? I think I owe you a video. Some of y'all owe you a video. Hot mess. Ryan, aka Hot Mess. What do you look for in resume for a paralegal and immigration firm? It's hard. It's hard because on paper, well, on a resume in general, okay, folks, paralegal or not, I recommend you phrase your experience in terms of milestones, achievements, because that I think that would be really helpful. Okay. Because if it's just like, if I usually when we post a job for attorney or paralegal type position, we get a lot, probably 100, and it's great. I'm so thankful that people want to join our team. Number one thing we look about for is core values, but that's more for an interview. But on resume, on paper, that's tough. Number one, phrase it as a milestone or objective that you met, accomplishment, if possible, of course. Um, and I hate to say this, but there's this, I guess, traditional thought of I know yeah, I know people are jumping around, right? You're jumping around, you're trying to find a good company to work for with, add value to that company, and so you but because of that, you might be jumping around, much more than you would want. You want stability, I'm sure. Employers want stability. So, by the way, hot tip, you should mention that. Just come out upfront. Just like in trial, like for immigration clients, we have to talk about the crimes and talk about it. We don't want to hide it. Plus, they would know anyway. So, same thing for employers, right? We would know anyway by looking your dates of employment. So you might as well try to turn that into a positive for yourself. The great question. I could go on and on about this. Maybe I should do like a show at night if I can, not tell my wife. Let's see here. Okay, next question. Ali ask, you have an individual hearing in July. Can you change your attorney? Is it okay to change? Yeah, it's certainly okay. Doesn't, of course, doesn't have to be us, but you want to find an attorney that you believe will help you because life's short and you only got one chance. You got one shot. Who raps that song? Is it Eminem? You got one shot, but seriously, you got really literally one shot at your immigration court representation. So if your attorney has not provided you a strategy, ask. I know it's strange to say, but ask. What's the strategy here? And they just don't really like explain it in the way that you understand, then tell them that because you already paid them, right? So look, I'm not trying to take like business from people, but other attorneys, I think there's plenty of people to help, but you already paid someone. See if they're really gonna work their wheels, okay? Make their money, make them earn their money, okay? And then ultimately, after all that, you tried, and they're like, this guy, this like, I just don't feel comfortable. No, I was gonna say something else, but if you just don't feel comfortable anymore, then yeah, sure, give us a call anytime. Oh, not anytime. I mean, but fill out our form on a website, greencardguys.com. All right, and go to the contact page. Let me see if I can find it here. There you go. So for those folks that are not on TikTok, you should be able to see this on where to go. Greencardguys.com. I'm just showing a short clip right here for those folks on TikTok. Okay. So thank you for asking. But yeah, you can fire your attorney, even if it's not court related. It can be any type of case, civil case. All right, Raider Nation, what's up? You've been waiting for over 20 years. How do you find out information? Um, I think, yeah, one of your earlier comments somewhere said, I think what I infer is 20 years because you've been in the US for over 20 years. Like you came in as a child, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but maybe it means something different. Did you file an application 20 years ago, like a family preference case, maybe through a sibling? So anyway, the answer is drum roll, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. You could do this yourself. We're happy to help you. All right. Um, since you found us on, if you find folks, if you need to investigate your case, get documents from your prior application, or maybe you just don't know if you had a prior application, maybe through a parent or another family member, and you want to know that information, or maybe you have an employer and your company is sponsoring you, but you just don't know any information. They're really gridlocked. They won't share any documents, which happens a lot. By the way, we like to share a Dropbox folder with the foreign national as well, because I think sharing information to everyone involved within reason is helpful and necessary so that you don't freak out. To be honest, right? Want to be transparent. Like, so, anyways, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. If it was like a different government agency, like a city, they call it Public Information Request, something like that, PIO. Nico, if ever you check the A number on the EOIR page, no case. Is that good? Well, in some respects, it's good most of the time, but they could have. I don't think they would say no case. I think what you mean is like no hearing scheduled. If they said no hearing scheduled, your case is still active. But if it said like some kind of order that says case is dismissed, or case was dismissed, that is the best. Okay. But if it's just say no hearing scheduled, you still need to check every couple weeks or every month. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Candace, what's up? I think you're one of those that I did respond the other day, last show. Was it Friday, Thursday? Before I went to Anaheim and my camera and mic were not working. So apologies. Okay, but now here to answer your question. Could I help with telling the next steps after 601 and 212 approval? You can't seem to get any info from your lawyer. I'm so sorry to hear that. But congratulations. Try to think positive here that you got approval. Um, so the next step is to get, if it's your spouse that's abroad, to request another interview. Okay, visa interview. It's not because you want to. If you already had your, whether you or your spouse already had an interview a long time ago, maybe a year plus ago, of course you don't want an interview, but you have to. That's part of the normal process. Now, if I can recall correctly, there are times where they would waive the second interview. And it's kind of like the lottery. It's not something like you can apply and register like, can I get the interview waived? It's just within discretion of the officer of the consular embassy. Um, but here's the deal though. How would they know about your approval? USCIS does not talk to the State Department. Go figure. Y'all just need to know this about immigration agencies. You would think in the 21st century, in 2024, that they know how to talk to each other, share documents. No, they don't. With the core system, they finally have online filing, but not for all cases, not for the old ones. It's still outdated, right? If you do it for the new cases, why not do it for the old ones too? It's just backwards thinking. So same thing, okay, Candace. So basically, you need an email. If they have an email address, let them know, attach the approval notice and say, from what I understand, my spouse, if it's your spouse or for yourself, my spouse needs to be scheduled for a second interview. Attached is the approval of the I-212 and 601. All right. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, Candace, can you reply so make sure you heard this? All right. Shoot, I got 5 minutes, folks, because I need to prep a client for a detained hearing. Um, Unfortunately, client's at a detention center, and I'm not going to share, of course, info right here about the specific case. Maybe later on with client approval, but I want you to know this: we accept very limited detained cases, meaning they're in detention center. Unfortunately, certain crimes gonna get you stuck. I was gonna say locked up, but yeah, technically locked up. Especially even if you are a resident and you've been traveling, you got lucky, like the past couple times traveling in and out of America, and that one time you get stopped by customs and say, "Come with me, gonna refer you to immigration court." You really got it. It behooves you to talk to him. If you have a crime after or plea deal, plea agreement after you got residency, and of course, it generally doesn't trigger in your mind to think, "Oh, I need to talk to immigration lawyer." But it's a probably pretty good idea, even if you got it completed, the crime. Like when you're thinking to book your ticket to travel outside the United States and you have residence status, I'm telling you now, you need to schedule an appointment with a lawyer, immigration lawyer that understands crimes, consequences of crimes, immigration consequences of crimes, to be as specific as possible. All right. You're welcome, Candace. And by the way, folks, if you got any value from the way I share information in real time, especially, or you watch a video later on, or you talk to one of our care specialists, please go to reviewtinglaw.com. We greatly appreciate your feedback on our customer service. All right, let's see here. I got 3 minutes. Okay. By the way, if you're just now joining, welcome. Give us a follow on any of these platforms. Okay. We greatly appreciate it, especially if I'm not able to answer your question. And you can ask hopefully tomorrow. 60 okay, on TikTok, 6547 user. Do you still have to live in the US for 6 months out of a year to keep your green card? Yes and no, but default yes. minimum 6 months out of every calendar year if your intent is to maintain your residency, which is, I hope so, but also so they're eligible to apply for citizenship. Okay. Now, if you think you're going to stay in America for, like, man, let's say like 4 or 5 months, I mean, stay outside America 4 or 5 months, shit happens. Okay. Excuse my French. Shit happens. Hey, example, pandemic, but you never know what's going to happen in the future, clearly. So if you're like 3, 4, 5 month mark, you're like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be out more than that. And it doesn't have to be even straight, right? But because I share this because some people are like, well, John, I had to go outside for work. And I will tell you straight up. I've told everyone else this. USCIS doesn't give a shit. Okay, who told you to live outside America? You could have found another job. No one told you had to work for that company. The law is the law. You're SOL. Okay, I really hate to say it that way. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're just become a resident or you haven't been outside for more X time, this is real time advice. You need to apply for a real re-entry permit, 131 form. Okay. And some people ask, well, can I be outside of US to apply for it? I don't recall it being able to apply online. Hey, but if someone able to like apply for you on your behalf, but you sign the form and you file it in the United States, that's fine. But know this, they ask for biometrics. You gotta show up. So don't be at like the 5 month mark and you're abroad and you're like, oh, I'll file this and still be okay. No, you need to hurry your ass back and fly back to America. Okay. All right. Sorry. That was a long answer. Hopefully that helps. All right. One more question here. FE, you said good tips. Is it better to send via mailbox or submit online these days? So FE, if I can remember, I think I don't actually I don't remember. I don't I sent, you're in the US, you're in Austin. So are you did you enter with a visa a long time ago? Then you can apply for adjustment status, meaning the entire packet. So if you're applying for the entire package, filing it, you have to file by mail. You can't do online. The only application online right now for your purposes is the I-130. So some attorneys say file that I-130 online. It's up to you, but if you already have everything printed and signed up, just mail it all together. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Go get a Webby. That C9 category is for adjustment status based on immediate relative. I do not remember all of the categories for work permit. Let me get one more question. Then I gotta hop off soon. Clem Steger. Okay. Case moved from 3 months to 5 months. Why that? I'm assuming you're talking about the my USCS online account. Don't pay attention to it. Okay. When I talk to the USCIS reps on the phone hotline, I ask them about it, get their feedback. They're like, no, it's not accurate. And some people even get the see online that says like, okay, expect a decision in 1 week. It's full of shit. Okay, excuse my French. It's, it's just not. It's not possible for US. First of all, they don't talk to each other. Okay, the agencies, right? So imagine if you know that, then it's very unlikely that USCIS is able to update every single applicant, like exactly when their decision is going to come. Don't rely on that. Okay. Come to the channel to give it a better estimation. Okay. Even I can't promise for your own case, but I can give you an estimation based on our case experience in real time. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps. I see some, excuse me. Hey, Tony, congrats on your Niners. Congrats on your Niners. In a way, good thing the Cowboys aren't playing Niners because then we can't talk for a week. But congrats on your Niners. Hope they win it. It's going to be a good one. I think. Hey, I mean, I got friends who are Lions fans also, but yeah, I feel bad for Lions fans. But if Niners are going to win the Super Bowl, it's got to be this year, Tony. I think you can agree with your stack lineup, man. Hey, Daphne. Pretty detailed Pretty detailed. I think if someone else has a detailed question. So if you're in a situation, you're like, John, I really want to answer a solution strategy. The best thing to do is to, even if you join live tomorrow or another day, best thing to do is go to our website, greencardguys.com, click on contact us, and um, we can set you up with the session. Okay, 15 minutes, so we can share a screen and all that. All right. Sorry, I got to go to a client meeting. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Peace.